Sometimes it's the quietest people who leave the loudest echoes in our hearts. Thomas didn't have much, just a milk cart, a soft smile, and a promise he could never forget. Every morning before the sun rose, his footsteps echoed down Maple Street. People said he was just the milkman, but for one family, Thomas was something more. It was 1953, in a small American town where doors stayed unlocked and neighbors waved from porches. You could smell coffee brewing, hear the crackling of the radio news, and see the Sunday paper waiting neatly on every doorstep. Thomas Parker, the town's milkman, started his route before dawn. His old horse, Daisy, pulled the cart, glass bottles clinking softly like wind chimes. He wore a white cap, a faded smile, and a heart full of stories he never told. To everyone, Thomas was just part of the morning, like the sunrise or the church bell. But for the Andersons, a young couple with a little girl named Lily, Thomas's visits meant something special. Lily would run out barefoot to greet him every morning. "Good morning, Mr. Thomas," she'd chirp, holding out a tiny hand for the milk. And Thomas, with his usual gentle grin, would reply, "Good morning, sunshine. You're growing faster than the milk bottles, you know that?" He'd leave 2 bottles on their porch, pet the family dog, and tip his hat to Mrs. Anderson, a kind woman with tired eyes and a warm smile. There was something unspoken between them, respect maybe, or something deeper that both tried to ignore. One chilly morning, Thomas noticed something was off. The Andersons' curtains were closed, the porch light still on. No Lily waiting, no laughter. He hesitated, then knocked softly. Mrs. Anderson opened the door, her eyes red, her hands trembling. "Oh, good morning, Mr. Parker," she whispered. Thomas noticed the half-packed suitcase by the door. "Everything all right, ma'am?" She forced a smile. Just leaving town for a while. My husband got a new job in Chicago." But Thomas could hear the pain in her voice, the kind of pain that comes from something breaking, quietly, without a sound. He nodded, leaving the bottles as usual, but as he turned to leave, she said softly, "Thomas, thank you for being kind to Lily. You've been more present than most." Her voice cracked. Thomas froze, unsure what to say. So he just tipped his hat and whispered, "Take care of her, ma'am. She's got your eyes."
Weeks passed. The Andersons never returned. The house stayed empty, the porch gathered dust, and Daisy's hooves stopped at that corner out of habit. Thomas would glance at it every morning, the window where Lily used to wave, and then move on. Years went by. The world changed. TV replaced radios, drive-ins replaced dances, and people stopped knowing their milkman's name. Thomas grew older, slower, his deliveries fewer. But every Sunday, he still stopped at that same house, leaving 1 bottle of milk and a folded newspaper on the porch. Nobody ever came to claim it. People thought he was forgetful. He wasn't. He was remembering. It was the summer of 1972, nearly 20 years later. Thomas was long retired. His cart sold, Daisy gone. He lived quietly in a small apartment above the old post office, surrounded by black and white photos of a town that had grown up and moved on. One morning, there was a knock on his door. A woman stood there, mid-30s, with kind eyes and a familiar smile. She smiled through tears. "It's me, Lily Anderson." Thomas froze, the glass of milk in his hand trembling. "Lily, my goodness!" She stepped forward, holding an old photograph, a picture of him, her, and Daisy by the milk cart. She remembered, she said, her voice shaking. Every Sunday she'd tell me how you never forgot us. Even when Dad left and life got hard, she said your milk bottles were reminders that good people still existed. Thomas sat down, overwhelmed. He had always wondered if anyone noticed, if leaving those bottles had mattered. Now he knew.
That day, they sat for hours, sharing memories of Daisy's funny walk, of the porch light that never turned off, of simpler times, when life was measured by kindness, not clocks. Before leaving, Lily placed a folded newspaper on his table. It was today's Sunday paper, with a note taped to it. It read, "Dear Mr. Parker, you may have been our milkman, but to us, you were proof that love never stops coming back." Thomas smiled, tears tracing the wrinkles on his face. He looked out the window at the street below, where kids now rode bicycles and the world felt new again. That evening, a neighbor saw him sitting by the window, holding the old photograph, whispering softly, "I guess I've finally made my last delivery." He passed away peacefully that night, a gentle smile on his lips. The next morning, when people found him, they noticed something unusual. A single glass bottle of milk sat by his window, perfectly chilled with the note inside. Nobody knew who placed it there. Some say it was Lily. Others say it was his final delivery to himself. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness last the longest. We may forget faces, names, and years, but never the way someone made us feel. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the soul. And remember, goodness never expires. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness last a lifetime. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to share it with someone who still believes in goodness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again for more stories that speak to the soul and remind us what it truly means to be human.